What are holding costs when flipping a house? Most new investors underestimate this one thing. I call it the silent killer of real estate deals, and it can eat up your entire margin on one deal. Flipping profits don't disappear because of the rehab. Flipping profits disappear because of how you manage the rehab and the holding costs that suck every dollar out of the deal for every day you hold it too long. You ever wonder where your profit really goes during a flip? It's usually right here in the holding costs, the silent killer of real estate deals. In this video, you're going to learn exactly what holding costs are, how you can calculate them in advance, and how to keep them from killing the profit on your deal. So what are holding costs? Holding costs are expenses that you're going to pay for the mere privilege of owning a piece of property. What might they be? Number one, if you've borrowed money for this flip, which most people do, you're going to pay interest on that loan. That interest is something you'll pay on a daily basis. Next, when you own a piece of property, you're going to pay property taxes for every single day you own that property. Now, sometimes you pay that up front at closing for 6 months' time. Sometimes you don't. It just depends on the circumstance. You're gonna have to pay for insurance on that property on a daily basis. Again, you might pay 6 months up front or a year up front, or you might pay just 1 month up front. Again, it just depends on how you structure it. There is maintenance on the property. If it's the Northeast or the North, you might be paying for snow removal, or the Northwest, wherever you might be. If you are down in the South, it might be that you are dealing with rain or dealing with lawns we have to be mowed all the time, or whatever that might be. These are things, the costs that you have. There also is HOA fees if you buy in an HOA. I do not recommend buying in an HOA neighborhood if you can avoid it for many, many reasons. Karens are one of them. But I wouldn't worry about that for now. You can learn more about that in our channel, so be sure and check us out to learn where to not flip houses. So those are fees, though, that you'll have to pay for the mere privilege of owning that house. If you're flipping larger, more expensive homes, you're going to have to stage that home in certain markets to sell the home. Well, staging means you have to rent furniture in the home. Well, obviously, you're paying on a monthly basis to rent that furniture. But you say, Glenn, I want to stage my house electronically. You can. Look, here's my thing about staging electronically. That's wonderful. That gets them to go in the house. I'd rather have my buyer be excited when they walk in the house and see the furniture than to see furniture online, get excited, walk in, and be deflated. I think you'll find that the price for having furniture in the house can be much better than not having furniture in the house. That's my little caveat about that. Next, I want to talk about risk of loss. What does that mean? It's kind of a holding cost and kind of not a holding cost. Think of this. You flip a house. You have a brand new refrigerator. Everything's great. You don't live in the house, do you? So you don't show up to that house very often. Maybe you don't go for a month. If you live in a home and your refrigerator that you just installed has a small leak and it just has one little drip that comes out every minute, every second. Well, that's not a big deal because when you live there and you walk through your living room, your sock gets wet and you go, and you call somebody and you fix the refrigerator. Maybe you can even fix it yourself. If you don't live in the house, that drip can turn to a pond inside your kitchen. It can make your hardwood floors buckle. Ask me how I know that. So I've been down this road before. And if you have moisture in your house, maybe it's not a big deal if you live there because people are coming and going, the doors are opening back and forth. But if the doors aren't being opened, there's moisture in the house, that could create a mold situation. If it gets hotter outside, it creates a bit of a greenhouse in your house. Again, not living in a home can create problems. I'm not saying things to scare you. I just want to be real with you so you know there are things that can happen. And hopefully by watching this video, you can say, oh, didn't think about that. Here's how you fix those problems. Have somebody check in your houses multiple times a week or do it yourself. And that includes flushing the toilets and running the sinks to keep the water flowing in the house. Something funny happens in a house when there's nobody going in and out. When there's no life in a house, there's no life in a house, it starts to die. So make sure you keep life in your house. So risk of loss is not something that can put a dollar figure on, like you can put a dollar figure on your interest or your insurance or your taxes. I just want you to be aware that things can happen that will eat into your profit because of how long you're holding on to the house. One of the biggest challenges, and the reason that I call it the silent killer of real estate deals, is because things like interest. Now, in the way that I structure my private lenders, I don't pay any principal or interest payments until I'm done flipping the house. If you want to learn more about that, check out our channel and learn about how to set up private money in your favor. But I won't pay that until the very end. Taxes are the same thing. I don't pay that until I sell the house. So these things can accrue, and every day that I hold the house, it gets greater and greater and greater the amount. I'm not writing a check every day, so I'm not feeling it. But I go to the closing table and I find I just made $4,000 less than I expected, it can be a punch in the gut to say, what in the world happened there? And you start to learn about holding costs really quickly. So how do you prevent paying ridiculous holding costs? Number one, I want you to treat holding costs like somebody shows up at your door from the mob and demands that payment every single day. The average, depending on the size of the house, but the average home in America that's $200,000 to $300,000, you're paying between $150 to $250 a day for the privilege of owning a house in the cost I just shared with you. So think of it this way. What if every day I walked up to your door and said, good morning, you owe me 200 bucks. Okay, great. The first few days of your flip, you're excited, aren't you? Yeah, I'm great. I'm an investor. I'm doing this. After about 2 weeks, you're going, hey, dude, stop calling me. Hey, it's Sunday morning. I don't care. Pay me. Hey, Glenn, it's Christmas. I don't care. Pay me. And every day you have to pay no matter what's going on. If you treated it like that in your mind, you'd do everything you could in your power to stop the collector from coming to your door every day. So you would work hard to manage that job like a boss. We even went as far as taking all of our holding costs in our spreadsheet that we give our students and have that divided by 365. And that way you know every day what it costs to hold a house. Something about that pressure, knowing how much it costs you every single day, will help you move a little bit faster in getting your job done. I want you to use this number in decision making. Let me give you an example. You are getting the job started and you have one contractor that can start the job today, but he's $2,000 higher than this other guy that could start the house probably in 2 weeks. Notice I said probably? That's contractor language for probably not, okay? But you say to yourself, wow, that guy's cheaper by $2,000. The truth of the matter is, even if he starts there, it might cost you that much in holding time to wait for him. So it might make more sense to pay the person that charges more up front because they can start the job quicker and get it done quicker. So use your holding costs in all of your decision makings to make yourself a much smarter investor. Look at the whole picture. I always say to lose the battle to win the war. Always make sure in your budget to add what I call an oops factor or a little bit of fluff in your budget to cover extra holding costs. That way, if you come in under that, you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's a lot more fun to go to the closing table and get more money than you expected than to get less money than you expected. Ask me how I know that. So the question is, Glenn, how do I reduce holding costs? The truth of the matter is, the only way to really do that is in your upfront negotiations with your private lenders, because usually that's a big part of it. If you're paying 10, 12, or 15% on your money, well, obviously the less amount you pay in an annual percentage or an APR interest rate, the less your daily holding costs will be. Usually it's a pretty fixed rate. Taxes, we're not going to negotiate taxes, right? That it is what it is. And really same with insurance and maintenance costs. So a lot of those things really can't be negotiated. Where you can make up the difference is during construction. Make sure in your contract with your contractor you have late payment penalties for every day they're late. In our contract, a contractor will pay us $250 for every day they miss the deadline on the job completion date. And I give them plenty of leeway up front so that if they say, I'll be done on March 30th, I'll say, good, let's go to April 15th. Great, 2 extra weeks, good. But after that, you're gonna pay me $250 a day for every day you're late. That way when the job comes and they're doing 6 other jobs or not showing up for the job, I can say, you've already spent $1,000 coming out of your last check for this. So make sure that you show up to the job. That motivates people and it will help to eliminate the money that you're paying. That's the way you can really reduce the holding costs. And by the way, I love this one. People say, well, just sell the house for more. That'll cover it. Clearly, you've never been a real estate investor before because a house is only worth what someone is willing and is able to pay for it. So when people say to you, just sell the house for more and cover it, that's an old school thinker who has no idea how to really flip a house. Holding costs can eat up your profits, but they are avoidable if you buy the house right from the very start. Go watch the next video where I'm going to teach you exactly the properties you should be focusing on for successful flipping. Click the link right here in the description below.